Welcome to today's episode of Confessions of a Cleaning Business Owner. And today we're going to be talking about why December is the worst month of the year for a cleaning business owner. So you voted it the worst month of the year, didn't you, Diane?
Yeah, it's definitely the worst month of the year for cleaning businesses. And actually, it's completely the opposite of what I thought it would be. I thought December would be the best month of the year for my cleaning business. It would be the busiest month. It would be amazing. But I think it's the worst month of the year.
I think so too. It's so expensive, like unbelievably. And we're not just talking Christmas parties for the staff, are we? We're talking, like, I'm closing this year on the 20th of December and we'll reopen on the 2nd of January. So I'm closed for, 10, 11 days. And all my staff will be paid holiday pay at the same time. That's a big whack of money to pay out in one go.
We're exactly the same. We are 2 weeks, so 10, well, us team only work 4 days a week. So, but it's 2 weeks that we're off. So our last day is the 23rd of December. And then we've decided to skip that stupid after New Year week. Can't be bothered with it. So we're not back at work until the 7th of January. I just couldn't face another 2-day week. I hate them. So we're just closing that week. But yeah, it's expensive. 2 weeks of holiday pay. And also it's stupidly busy leading up. And there's so much obligation around getting that pre-Christmas cleaning, isn't there? And everybody hates us if we let them down, and we're just so stressed about it. So it's super busy, but it makes no money. I hate it. It's just rubbish in my business.
It's not that it makes no money. You've got no money coming in for those 2 weeks, and you really do need a big cash buffer ready to pay it out quite quickly. Yep. And the problem is, because all of the staff are spending money, they're buying Christmas presents, they're doing festivities, their skin, they absolutely need that money more than you can imagine. And particularly if, like us, we pay weekly, you've got a couple of weeks where you are paying out with nothing coming in, and you don't, it's beyond hate. You are just crippling people.
Yeah. So you have 3 weeks of technically being fully booked, and usually, apart from you still get cancellations, but anyway, you're fully booked for 3 weeks, but then you've got 2 weeks of no income. And so come January, yeah, we're all skint personally, but our businesses are struggling cash flow wise as well.
But you say 3 weeks of being fully booked, right? Because you're closed for 2 weeks. People want to shift their cleans. You will probably be booked before you decide to close.
Yeah, you've got to try and fit them all in. Yeah.
And so you've got to try and fit them in. So you're like, come on, guys, let's push that a little bit harder. Come on, put in a few more hours. Let's go. So you do get a bumper month. But because there's so little extra capacity, it can never compensate for the time you're closed.
No, there's still going to be, those 2 weeks that you're missing, you're not really going to get all that into those 3 weeks of work that you actually do. So no, you're absolutely right. It doesn't compensate. And that's why I hate it. On a personal note, I love Christmas. It's great. I can't wait. I'm really excited. My daughter's coming over from the UK. Can't wait. But business-wise, it's the worst month of the year. August is almost as bad with clients cancelling for holidays and things, and team members being off, but December's definitely worse.
And it gets even more interesting, doesn't it? Because there are some people that are doing Airbnbs. So it's a super, super busy time. No one's got childcare because if their kids are in nursery, no nursery's open, the whole place is closed, but yet you've still got to do changeovers.
Yeah, and somebody the other day was saying that they told all their clients, we don't work Boxing Day, Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And then one of their clients had booked in a Boxing Day changeover, and their response was, good luck doing that changeover yourself, because we're not working 3 days of the year where they're not working yet. So in the holiday industry, at least we get to take that 2 weeks off, whether it costs us a fortune or otherwise. They don't get to take that 2 weeks off. If they're lucky, they'll get those 3 days and that's it. So yeah, it's a bad month all round. It's just, I think we should just cancel December.
There's one more thing,
Diane. No, not more.
So you'll know about this. You close for 2 weeks. What happens the week you go back?
Oh, yeah. Everybody wants to clean and everybody wants extra time, and yeah.
Or they don't book extra time, but just before you're due to arrive, they've dragged the tree through the house. You're like, are you kidding me?
Fine needles, yeah. And that's the thing about not going back straight after the new year for that 2-day week is just like, maybe we'll avoid that, but we won't. It'll be worse, because you're right. They will have taken the decorations down the weekend. And then, yeah, come the Tuesday, all those pine needles will still be there waiting for us to tackle them.
And they've had more people round. They've been at home more, they've spent more time there because normally they're all out at school and work and things. So it's even worse. But
Yeah.
and you said they will need more time. They don't all book in extra time.
No, no. And then, it's been 3 weeks since their last clean. Like you said, they've had a house full. They've got pine needles everywhere. There's tinsel. There's just, bits of everything. And yet we're still expected to complete the same clean in 3 hours as we normally complete on a weekly basis.
But on top of that, we've not cleaned for 2 weeks. So you're not really in the zone of it. So you want to ramp up slowly, but you get thrown straight into the deep end.
Yes. Yeah, you've had 2 weeks off, guys. Good luck that first week back. Yeah, you're going to be super busy and every house is going to be a challenge. But you know what? We do have to plan for it. We do have to kind of talk to our team and kind of go, look, priorities only this week. We're only going to do the main priorities. That's all you focus on because, we cannot do that catch up without the extra time. And of course, we don't have space to do extra time anyway, even if they did want to book it. And also, I think we're coming to the point of we're going to ban December. I think, we're nearly there, aren't we? And what about recruitment? Can any of us recruit in December and actually get somebody started and trained in that 3 weeks of chaos?
So I think this is quite interesting because we're recruiting quite a lot at the moment. It is interesting. We're sat here in mid-November and I have to say to them, look, there'll be 2 weeks where we're closed and most of my staff will get paid, but you won't have accumulated the holiday. So I'm really sorry. But if you start now and they're like, obviously about to quit their other job, if you start now, you will not get paid. So I really want you to bear that in mind. Before you quit your job, I want you to come in knowing that, because if it makes a massive financial difference, we can start you in the new year. It's hard and it's harsh on them, but what do you do? They might.
And it's good that you can be honest with them like that and that you've got the capacity to do that. But if you're desperate for staff to cover those 3 weeks, you've got to take people on. And knowing that actually they're not going to get paid for that 2 weeks, it's really tough. But it's that balance, isn't it? But also, do people want to change jobs just before Christmas?
I don't know. I think some do. There's always somebody at some point. People want money before Christmas. So now November is a great time to recruit because there's a financial need to work. Whereas all year they were like, I'm a stay-at-home mum. I need to work. So I quite like that. But I think for me, I can recruit before Christmas because a lot of the people I recruit often have children and childcare and other commitments. And so it's really hard to recruit before the summer holidays because they haven't got childcare. Whereas before the Christmas holidays, we're closed anyway. So it's not an issue for them. So actually, I find I can recruit most of the way up to Christmas, but it depends who you're recruiting, doesn't it?
Yeah. And we actually use the Christmas close down as a selling point. You're right. But generally it doesn't work in December. But in November time, where somebody's maybe working a job at the moment, maybe in hospitality, where they have to work Christmas maybe, certainly have to work in between Christmas and New Year. They don't get to spend all that time with their family. So it's a really big selling point, isn't it? So, but that's not December. That's way before, isn't it? When you kind of go in, don't ever work Christmas, have time off for the nativity play, sports day. We always sell that as well. I know that's not in December. So we can use December as a selling point. But from a business point of view, I still think it should be banned. I think we should just get rid of it completely. Let's not do it. Let's not have December anymore.
And better than that, Diane, Christmas parties, staff.
Oh, yes.
And presents and thank yous and
gifts for the whole team. We're taking my kids for a nice Christmas lunch.
Did you hear that? Christmas jumper day.
Oh, Christmas jumper day. I don't think we do that.
We do.
But I like things like that. It's nice to do fun things, but with my business head on, that's why I say I love Christmas. I want to spend time with my family and my friends. Absolutely love it. And I don't mind any of that. I'm not trying to ban Christmas. But from a business point of view, it's really flipping hard. It's the worst month of the year.
Okay, so let's look at it slightly differently. Imagine you weren't in the cleaning industry and you ran a different business. Do you think it's any better for other businesses?
I think if you're in retail, it's probably the best month of the year for sales, isn't it? If you're in hospitality, it's probably the best month of the year for sales. I suppose if you're in IT support services, it probably doesn't have any effect. My daughter works in the financial department of a big international law firm. It probably has no effect whatsoever on them. So I think a business that's a service business like ours, it disproportionately affects us, I think. Obviously gardeners, they're affected seasonally anyway. Electricians, they're probably affected in the same way because nobody wants an electrician in, in between Christmas and New Year.
Just going back to your daughter in a law firm, they still close for 2 weeks over Christmas. They still have Christmas parties. They still have.
They do close, but I don't. Their billing rates won't change. I don't believe that they will only do 3 weeks' work and then not get paid for the rest of the month, because it's not a direct exchange of time for money, is it? In the same way as a service industry, and they charge millions, so they can afford it.
I think that's in some ways quite similar, but it's unsympathetic.
But they're not exchanging their time for money in the same way. A lot of what they do still carries on, even when some of the team are off on holiday and things like that. And there are certain times, I know in her job, that she can't be off at certain times of the month, regardless of what the date is, in terms of, seasonal calendars.
I remember when I was in recruitment, Christmas was good fun because we'd have to come in, but half of the hiring managers weren't in work and they scaled back. And a lot of people in the corporate world were sort of finishing from mid-December. I remember the last week before Christmas, I was like, what is the point of me? There was a lot of calling people. What's the point? They're not in. Nobody wanted to swap jobs the week before Christmas. Nobody was going to hire a new contractor. And I was just like, well, I'm here, but what's the point?
Yeah, but isn't recruitment very commission focused in terms of paying its staff anyway? So maybe there's less of an impact on the business's bottom line. There will definitely still be an impact, though, because if the business actually can't have any results for 2 weeks with team in the office, then maybe it affects all businesses. So maybe we just ban December for all businesses then, apart from hospitality and retail.
I'm not sure I agree with this, but I can see your points. You don't like Christmas.
I feel like I'm on an episode of, that room 101. So let's put December in the 101 room.
I quite liked it. Like, you sat there going, it's the worst. And I'm like, is it?
I like it personally. I just don't like it for my business, because I think it's, you're planning the schedules. And actually, I was speaking to somebody the other day who were just like, oh yeah, I've spent all day today trying to sort out the Christmas schedules. It's like there's a whole day, and that's a relatively small business. We spend a lot more time on sorting out schedules and emailing clients and letting them know. And then you've got, toing and froing and stuff. And yeah, it's all very well organized and very well systemized, and we've been doing it for years. I'm not saying it's difficult, but it's just another thing that we have to do because it's December soon. It's just like,
oh, I've got another one. I'm going to throw this at you. What Christmas cards?
I think they're getting less and less now, aren't they? Christmas cards. We used to have a whole sort of regimented system of getting the business card out to the clients and making sure the team, because we used to give gifts as well to all our clients. But I think we personally in our business, we've done less and less in that. People don't do Christmas cards as much. But yeah, they're another thing that you have to do, or yeah.
Do you know, we're going to do it. So, but there's a caveat to that. We used to spend ages. Someone had to write 300 Christmas cards. Now we just buy the cards and whack them through the printer. You have an Excel spreadsheet of all the customers, and so you whack it through. So it's, a 10-minute job. And then the cleaners just drop them off, and the customers love it because you're right. People send less and less Christmas cards. So the fact that we are is really nice. And we haven't changed our gift now in over 10 years. So I found...
Is it after eights? Is it after eight that, what did you switch?
We do Terry's chocolate oranges. But, right, so last year we had to pay £1 for them. This year it's £1.25. The year before it was 50p. So we never paid more than 50p. We got them when they went on offer. They've just gone on offer in Asda. So we're recording this in mid-November. By the time you listen, it might be mid-December. They've just gone on offer at £1.25. And I'm like, I don't think we're going to get it for £1 this year. And so I'm definitely feeling the inflation in that chocolate orange. They've more than doubled.
And we get a lot of that in the groups, don't we? Should I buy my clients Christmas presents and all this sort of thing? And yeah, we always did it, and we just stopped it the last couple of years. Just the main problem for us was the logistics of getting them out there, because you're right, yeah, the cleaners do drop them off, but they forget. And they come back with the cards still in the folder, and you're like, which clients have had cards and which clients haven't? And for us, the logistics of it became too much with so many clients. And that's one of the main reasons why we stopped it, the organising of it all and making sure they actually all made it out of the office to the right places.
So we do ours. We start it the first week of December, getting it out. And yes, occasionally people forgot. But if they're having a clean every 2 weeks, they're still going to get it because we've got a second chance to get it. So that's why we have to start it so early. I quite like it. It's quite nice. It's all set up. And yeah, we have a list of what, as long as they return the card to us, then that will just get added back in and that will go out on the next day. It's
because you're addressing the envelopes, you know which clients have missed, whereas we used to just send them out in plain envelopes, thinking that would be easier for us. But actually, when they come back, then you don't know which clients haven't had them. So yeah, it caused a few issues. Maybe we'll reintroduce it. Not this year. It's mid-November. We're not doing it now. But maybe next year we might reintroduce it. It is quite a nice thing to do.
You could be techie. You're pretty techie. You could just print them all. Just do it. If you can't see that, I just had a big eye roll received and a sneer from Diane, like, stupid idea, Louise. I was like, okay, it doesn't work on a podcast, Diane.
No, I know. There are no pulling faces on a Spotify podcast. But, you know, it's interesting because it's like, I'm not being bar humbug about it, really. It's not just about Christmas. It's just that I just find December the most financially tough month for the business. And I know that come January, we'll be looking at December and going, well, it was an interesting month financially. It's a tough one. It doesn't mean we haven't prepared for it. We're going to be fine. We're going to be able to pay our staff. Everything will work because we've planned for it. But it's really tough. And also, I think for those of us with smaller businesses out there, it's even worse because it's really hard. You know, it's putting money away every single week for those staff holidays, thinking, actually, have I got enough in the budget to buy some chocolate oranges for my clients? Or actually, is that a corner that I'm going to have to cut because I've got holiday pay to pay? So, you know, yes, for those of us with bigger businesses, we can joke about this, but actually, I think it's a really tough month because people are working so hard in the build-up, all that emotional baggage of needing to deliver a great service for our clients. And then there's no financial reward at the end of it because we know come January it's had a big effect.
I think it's hard. I think this holiday pay comes in and it's really hard because if you put your money away, that's great. But for a lot of small businesses, you haven't necessarily put the money away. And so we have a system whereby you only get in your first year, and it does change once you've been here over a year, but in your first year, you only get paid what you've accrued. But that takes paperwork and a software system to work out exactly what they have accrued and the hours they've worked. Well, if you haven't got the software in order to work that out, you are going to get cleaned out in that period. So everyone is going to max out their holiday pay. So even if you put money aside, that fund, what do we call like a cash pot, whatever you put it into, is going to get emptied and more besides for most people.
And then, you know, you're going to buy your team presents. Maybe you're buying your clients presents as well. Maybe you're taking your team out for lunch, for dinner, for a party. And, you know, if you're booking one of those like the hotel type parties, they're really expensive now per head, aren't they? So it can all add up. And then, of course, you've got your own personal expenses because Christmas can be an expensive time of the year. I'm not a big fan of spending a load at Christmas, but people do. And it adds up, doesn't it? Even the Christmas dinner is stupidly expensive now, isn't it? If you want a turkey.
Yeah. Really gone on one here, Taya.
I know, I'm ranting now, aren't I? This is like a Louise rant, this, isn't it? Let's just cancel Christmas. I'm like the Grinch.
The point that you hit turkeys are too expensive may have got a little off.
Well, I just think that, you know, it's not just business, is it? We're also tied into things, aren't we? And if December is already an expensive month personally, and then it's expensive for your business, I think it just has an impact all over. And yeah, I think that it's something we have to plan for. And I suppose we can't ban December. And of course, I don't want to ban Christmas. I'm really looking forward to Christmas. But I think some planning in advance. So if you haven't planned this year, come January, you need to be looking at what do I need to put in place so that next December is a little bit easier financially for the business.
Also, it's hard for me to get as passionate. You know, I'm all over a rant normally. I'm all over this. But I guess this year I feel on a personal level, I feel a little bit different. The business, we're so used to doing it. I will just breeze through the Christmas period. We'll just follow the same process. And a hiccup might happen, but we'll follow the same process and it'll be fine. I guess for me, like we've got a big house renovation going on, to have 2 weeks where we're not going to have to take phone calls. It's the only time of the year where we're not going to take phone calls. It's the only time we truly in a year get to relax as business owners. I love it. Like, you know, we run the bees as well, and they're all in bed.
Oh, they all sleep for Christmas.
Yeah, they've all gone to bed. That's what happens. So we're all gone to bed. No one's going to call us. No customers are going to call. No staff are going to call. It's lovely. We can get on with the house renovations that we're just so busy we don't have time to do. And there's a part of me that is just looking forward to taking that breath. Like this year, we've not planned to go away. A lot of my family live further away. We've not planned any trips. They can come and see us, but we'll be roping them into doing tasks if they do. And as much as I am on board with everything you're saying about the business, on a personal level, the fact once a year we get to breathe, and I can't wait.
I kind of agree with you on that bit, I have to say. I hate to agree with you, but actually that 2 weeks of, you're right, you can turn the phone off. You just literally don't even have to think about the business. And for us, we've got that whole after New Year as well to look forward to, where we've got a really nice break. So yeah, from a personal point of view, it's amazing to have that 2 weeks. Whereas a business owner, I don't have to be a business owner.
Yeah.
So I love it from that point of view. But for the business, it's flipping together.
Okay, on that note, and the fact we slightly disagree on this one, thank you very, very much, Diane. A pleasure as always. And I hope people don't label you Scrooge too much after this one.
And probably the Grinch, yeah.
See you next week.
There you go, that'll do.